MCSO. And this is Deputy Jesse Brizendine. Oh, I had it right.
Just like it looks.
Brizendine, yeah.
And I'm not a deputy, I'm a deputy service aide. I help the guys in Brown with their daily jobs. So thank you all for having me. Can you all hear me without use of
Yes.
Okay, because I tend to walk instead of stand still. A little bit about myself. I'm Jess Brizendine. I'm a deputy service aide. My job, like I said earlier, is to assist the deputies with their day-to-day jobs so they can stay available for more pressing calls. And one of the tasks that I've been given has been to do presentations on scams. It's a big problem in our community. You're going to see some numbers here in a few minutes to show you just how bad it is. So I'll try not to bore you, but it is a PowerPoint.
Jesse,
Oh, I got to
look at that TV right there to your right.
Oh, all this technology, good Lord. So I'm used to looking behind me and everything. So Bill Cornwell is not here today, but he is our community outreach deputy. You may see him doing a lot of things in our community. The drives, the toy drives, the food drives, all the stuff for the schools. He's knee deep in the community. He's been here a long time, so unfortunately he's not here today. He's helping his kids move, or I don't know, he just didn't want to deal with this. I don't know. So what is fraud and con? Scam is a deceptive action in which an individual or entity obtains illegitimate benefits at the expense of another person. It relies on deception, manipulation, or the abuse of the victim's trust. The main objective of the scam is to gain illegal profits without fulfilling commitments or promises made. I can't really see that far away. Let me read up here. So these are the type of things we see in Sun City West. And this is not an all-inclusive list. The amount of time it takes me to stand up here and talk to you all today, there'll be new things come out, new variations. So this is just a brief thing of what we see in our community. Technology frauds, where someone attempts or says they're with Microsoft or with McAfee, PayPal or Amazon, and we'll talk about all these here shortly. Lottery, sweepstakes, and inheritance scams, government scams, my office likes that one especially, title frauds, grandparent scams, pet scams. The new one is the toll road evasion. All of a sudden these things start showing up. I've gotten like 4 or 5 of them in the last week. And finally, the romance scam. So scams by the numbers, $16.6 billion reported, not in Sun City West, so don't worry. And that's up from $12.2 billion nationwide. 859,000 complaints with a loss of $16.6 billion. 256 complaints with actual losses of an average of $19,000, which it seems like that's kind of high, but when we start talking about our losses in Sun City West, that's actually kind of low. Arizona ranks 9th with losses an estimated at $392 million, ranked 8th with losses estimated at $324, and that was a year prior. So unfortunately, we're trending in the wrong direction, and unfortunately, as much as I try to educate everybody, we still become victims, and we all become victims at some point. In 2024, these are reports reported to the FBI. All right, I gotta look behind here. And I deal with just the 160 and over. So there was 147,000 complaints made to the FBI last year, equating to $4.885 billion. That's a lot of money. 46% increase in complaints over 2023, and a 43% increase in losses in 2023. The average loss is $83,000, which you'll see that we have that here in Sun City West. If you break it down by ages, you'll see that 60 plus is kind of the higher end of the numbers that we see. That's who they target. They're not going to go after the ones who are young. They go after the ones who are trusting, and that's our seniors. The scans by the numbers of 2024 individuals 60 over, $1,834,242,515 nationwide. It's a lot of money. Again, Arizona ranked 4th with complaints made of 6,683, 6 with losses, and national investment fraud was top, recorded a loss of $1.83 billion. So investment fraud is one of the ones that we see, we don't see a lot reported to us. We see a lot of reported romance scams and lottery winning scams. So we'll talk about those. Sun City West. So this number is 2023. When Captain Stutzman looked at and wanted to do an impact on our community, he wanted to find out how bad it was. And this is what he found out. $2,750,000 was lost to our citizens in just January to September of 2023. And that's just the ones that we know about. That doesn't include the ones that are too embarrassed to call, they don't want to call, they don't have enough information to call. So I suspect that number is probably twice that much. Again, that's just from January to September. And we're not even heading into the Christmas months when the scams start getting really heavy then. That's a lot of money. So a term you'll hear a lot of is spoofing. They'll spoof your phone numbers. Spoofing is when fraudsters pretend to be someone or something else to win a person's trust. All these scams rely on trust of an individual. They break down those barriers to gain your trust. They find things that you have in common. Hobbies, stuff like that, sports teams. Motivation is usually to gain access to your systems, your computers, steal your data, steal money, or install malware. Phishing is the practice of sending fraudulent communications that appear to come from a legitimate and reputable source, usually through an email, or here recently, all the ones saying you've gone through a toll bridge or toll road, you haven't paid it, we want you to pay $65, and so that would be an example of what phishing is. So first thing we're going to talk about is technology scams. You may see a pop-up that shows up on your computer like this, or you may have heard of individuals getting this and saying they can't, no matter what they do, they can't get rid of this. This looks pretty scary when I'm not computer literate. If I have problems with my computer, I just give it to my kids to fix this, and they usually know what to do with it. So fake tech support. Scammers impersonate legitimate tech companies and claim that your computer has a problem, requiring they take remote access to diagnose or repair. Anytime anybody contacts you out of the blue and says, hey, we've observed some stuff on your computer. And remember, there's 1 billion computers out there in the world, and you're lucky enough to be that one they identified as having a problem. Anytime you see this pop up, know that it's a scam. And what's going to happen is you're going to try to exit out of it. It's not going to work. What we tell people is just turn your computer off. What they don't want you to do is that, because now that breaks that connection that they have with your computer. You may see stuff like this to Microsoft. Your screen freezes, and no matter what you do, you can't do anything with it. They may create a sense of urgency, claiming your bank accounts have been compromised. They're stealing your money right now. They want to break down that, humans first, they want to protect themselves, and if all of a sudden you say that something's an emergency, whether it's your kids or something, your senses kind of overload. So they're saying they're stealing your money, whether you have $100,000, $1 million, or $10. Hey, they're stealing your money right now. We need to take care of this right away. And they're trying to catch you off guard to get your money. Amazon and PayPal. How many here use Amazon for everything? Ever since COVID happened, I think that was the biggest benefit to Amazon, because now you get everything delivered by Amazon. You can get cars, you can get vacations, you can get food, you can get, whatever, and if you don't like it, you can send it back. So we see a lot of Amazon scams where they say, someone's hacked into your account. We've noticed that someone purchased 3 iPhones on your account. I even had one person say that she got scammed. She doesn't even have an Amazon account. And she called to find out what was going on, and then she fell into that scam. So just beware that Amazon, if you have an account, you can always call the real Amazon number. Don't call the numbers in these pop-ups. whether it's an Amazon, a PayPal, a Microsoft, or anything like that, that phone number at the bottom is part of their scam, okay? That goes directly to them. I even had one lady, she thought she was being scammed, so she went out on the internet, looked up the phone number for Amazon, and she got scammed by that phone number. So just be careful what you look for, and make sure what you're finding is legitimate companies before you do any business with them. Technology scams make all your purchases through your credit card. You generally have some recourse with credit cards. So just if you use a credit card, I always have one credit card that I just use just for PayPal. That way they don't get a whole lot of money. I just put the money in there that I know I've bought, and that's how I take care of that. If you're concerned about fraud on a service such as Amazon, PayPal, Etsy, you can log in directly to those sites, a trusted site. Never call the numbers listed in the bottom of the emails or text messages. Never give them remote access to your computer. And some of the common requests are through TeamViewers, AnyDesk, LogMeIn, and UltraViewer. Okay. Now, if your grandkids call and say, hey, if you're having problems, they want to log in to help you out, that's fine. You know them. But if anybody from the outside calls, just don't let them in your computer, because they can do a lot of damage inside that computer for you. Don't click on links on unsolicited pop-ups or emails. Don't call the numbers included in the emails. If an unknown pop-up appears on your screen, avoid clicking it, and maintain your antivirus. I know with Apple, they have a pretty good job maintaining their antivirus stuff. I'm not so sure about all the other computers. And now we have to worry about the phones, because that's a computer right there in our hands. So just be leery of that as well. In 2023, technology scams logged a loss of $924 million. Again, not just in Sun City West. In 2024, that went to $1 billion, over $1 billion. Huge increase. There's estimated there are 2 billion computers worldwide. And again, yours was lucky enough to be the lucky winner for them to scam. So lottery, sweepstakes, and inheritance. How many of us would love to win the Publishers Clearinghouse? How many of us would love to win the lottery for $700 million? How many would love to win the Canadian lottery twice? So this is one we see a lot of, and usually the stories are always the same. Congratulations, you've won $1 million. Congratulations, you're our second place winner to the $1 million prize. You've won a free prize, you've won a new car, you are the winner of the monthly Publishers Clearinghouse. Okay, that has been around since 1953, okay? And it still goes around today. There still is the Publishers Clearinghouse. But the real Publishers Clearinghouse will not ask you to prepay your taxes on your winnings, okay? They'll call and say, hey, you're the big winner. We want to come to your house with the big balloons, the big check. We want to bring the media. I'm waiting for them to say we want to bring Ed McMahon, because I want to be there for that one, because that's going to be something spectacular. So again, that one, the Publishers Clearinghouse, is still alive and well and living here in our community. Now, with that being said, I will say that we did have somebody in Sun City last year win a Publishers Clearinghouse, and they did show up at their house. The legitimate people did show up at their house. So it can happen. Can happen. Just if they ever ask you to prepay your taxes for your winnings, or your stamps for your inheritance, all that kind of stuff, if they ask you to pay it with gift cards, all that kind of stuff, it's going to be a scam. All right. They ask you again to pay for your prize of taxes, the shipping and handling, the processing fees. Pay with gift cards. Anytime anybody ever asks you to pay with a gift card, except for your family, you can't pay your utilities with the gift card. You can't pay for anything else. It's going to be a scam. Ask you to send a cash or a check overnight to expedite your winnings. They may even ask, hey, can you go ahead and send me your routing information, your checking information, so you can get this right away. And oh, don't tell anybody, because we want this to be a surprise. Well, surprises are going to take all your money, and by the time you realize it, it's too late. So any of those things, just just don't do it. Call us, and hopefully it's before you give the money. So request your banking information. They can do an immediate deposit. They ask for credit card information. I don't give my credit card information out to nobody. Don't tell anyone you're a winner. Again, we want this to be a surprise. So I'm gonna tell you a little. I'm gonna tell on myself. I take reports on cops, lawyers, doctors, nurses, you name it. So back 2 years ago, there was a pop-up that showed up on my Facebook. It says Amazon sells all their stuff that's been returned, pennies on the dollar. Okay, looked pretty good. I'd heard about this thing actually existing. The first pallet was like $99, and they showed this pallet of neat stuff, electronics and toys and clothes and whatever. Or you could buy 2 pallets for like $130 and a third pallet for $110. Okay, delivered to your house. I said, okay, I know I shouldn't, but I'll bite on this. Now, my first mistake, that was my first mistake, thinking I was going to get something for nothing. My second mistake was I didn't tell my wife about this. So it's Christmas time. My son's down, and I told him, I said, hey Cam, I got 3 pallets of stuff coming from Amazon. He's like, what do you mean 3 pallets of stuff? I said, I don't know. It cost me $110. It's going to get delivered here soon. So we're up in Sedona, and we're walking around. I get the notification my pallets have been delivered. I turn to my son and say, hey, the stuff just got there. He goes, what do you mean? He says, they just got delivered. Well, stupid me, my wife, who has eagle ears, which women usually do, she hears the conversation. She goes, what'd you do? I said, well, this is going to be a surprise, but I bought 3 pallets of stuff from Amazon. She goes, what kind of stuff? I said, I don't know. It looked good. It was a great deal. It's delivered to the house. 3 pallets? Says, yeah, big pallets. She goes, and where did they put them? I'm looking through my notes. It says it's been delivered to the front door. It's like, she says, so you've got 3 pallets blocking the front door. That's what it says. So I'm going to go with it. So, we hurry home, and I pull in the driveway, and I got this sinking feeling because there's no big boxes at the door. There's 3 small boxes about yay big. And it's like, oh, great. So I go, we take them inside. My wife is laughing at me because here I give these presentations and now not be a victim of fraud. So I go open the first box, and it's like an unknown brand headphone set. My son looks online and says, Dad, I can't even find these online. You can find everything online. He can't find these. And then the other one was a water pick. And the third one, I don't even know what the third box was. I think he gave it to one of the deputies at work. I said, here, Merry Christmas. So it happens to everybody. It's happened to my captain. So it happens. It sounds so legitimate. I don't know, maybe Keller's had it happen to him. So, and here we are, we're in the profession. So, it does happen. We just like to make sure that we get this word out so that it doesn't happen as frequently. So that's my little snitch on myself. I went back in on Monday and told the captain, I said, hey Captain, guess what? He goes, what? He goes, I was scammed over the weekend. He goes, well, let me tell you about mine. All right, so government impersonation. So we're going to talk about the IRS calls, the Social Security calls, the Medicare calls, and the last one is the law enforcement calls, which is apparently a big thing here. So the IRS, every year they come looking for their money. While most of these scams happen by phone, it is also important to know that the IRS will never email, text you, or send you a direct message over social media saying that you have unpaid debts. So the fact that someone probably answered a Facebook saying you owe debt tells me there's been a problem with that. The IRS will not call you about your taxes unexpectedly. If you owe taxes, the IRS will contact you by mail. Okay. The IRS now has private debt collectors who might call you, but only once they've given you 2 letters. Okay. There's only like 5 approved debt collectors that work with the IRS. So just contact the IRS. If you ever get something like this, contact the IRS and find out what's going on. I know we don't like to do that because we usually owe money. A private debt collector working on behalf of the IRS will never ask you to pay over the phone The IRS guidelines on private debt collection. The IRS and the debt collectors won't demand that you wire money, pay with a gift card, or pay with cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is a huge thing these days, because once that money goes in, nowhere to be found again except for on the other side of the world. Or send cash. Neither the IRS nor the debt collectors will threaten to arrest you. The IRS cannot revoke your license or immigration status. IRS does not have the police working for them. Social Security scam, you get a call, email, or text message, or a direct message on social media saying it's from the Social Security Administration, and your Social Security card benefits will end, or your Social Security number will be suspended unless you pay immediately. You know how hard it would be for the government to suspend your Social Security number? As efficient as they are, it would never happen. And so if they ever say they're going to suspend your Social Security number, don't believe them. They provide a phone number to call to solve the issue. Again, we don't call that number listed in their pop-up because we know it's a scam. Social Security techniques. Social Security scams attempts to steal personal information or money from your Social Security recipients. They may ask you personal information like what's your maiden name, what's your mother's name, what's your pet's name, just trying to verify, so they say that they're verifying they're talking to who they're supposed to. Threaten arrest or legal actions, suspend your Social Security numbers, demand immediate payments, ask for payment by gift cards, or ask for personal details for banking information. They also may ask you information to charge you for a new Social Security card. Those are free. Uh-oh. I see someone back here laughing. Someone may have had that call. Social Security will never threaten you to suspend your Social Security number. They will never call you or email, or never threaten you to seize your bank accounts, or they offer to move money to a protected bank account, which is something we've seen a couple times here recently. They're chasing a scammer. They want you to move all your money into a cryptocurrency. Then once they catch the person involved in the scam, you'll get all that money back. You don't get that money back. It's gone. Medicare, you may get a call, email, or message again regarding your Medicare. They may ask you for your bank account or credit card numbers. Again, the credit cards are free, or the Medicare cards are free. You are asked to verify your identity. Again, these are the same things as was with Social Security. They may ask you your full name, bank information, date of birth, and Social Security numbers. Now, they can usually get the last four of your Social Security number. It's those first ones that are the important ones. And there's something going on now, and I don't know how they're doing this, but they're actually getting all those numbers, and as well as banking information from banks. And I don't know if that's from a security breach in the banks, because we have so many of them, or the healthcare. Again, we hear about these security breaches all day, every day. Millions of people affected, but they are getting access to some of that information, and I don't know exactly how they're doing that yet, but hopefully I'll get an idea here shortly. Again, they won't ask you to send money. Remember, first and foremost, Medicare doesn't call you. You have to call them. Again, this is the real number for Medicare. Law enforcement. This one's fun. So you get a call from Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. The caller identifies himself as Brian Stutzman. I can say that because he's not here. He tells you you have warrants have been issued for your arrest due to missing jury duty. Failure to appear is contempt of court.
On that one now, instead of using Maricopa County Superior Court, because of all the news out there about what's going on with the federal government, they're using federal court, because we had one of our sergeant's wives just get that call last week.
So I can do one better. I got a call while I was working saying I'd missed court. Okay? I actually have the audio portion of their conversation. So we'll hear that in a minute. So whether it's Pinell County or wherever, just know that if anytime anybody calls you and says you missed jury duty, you didn't miss jury duty. So there's no warrants gonna be issued for your arrest. I was talking to our admin assistant the other day, and she says she gets calls all the time saying, I got a call saying I got a warrant because I missed court. No, you didn't miss court. So it's running hot in Maricopa County. You must post 2 bonds for the 2 warrants, and the bond money would be returned if the signatures match. Scammers attempt to collect a fine in lieu of arrest due to a claim of identity theft, failing to report for jury duty, money laundering investigations, or other offenses. They then tell the victims they can avoid arrest by withdrawing cash and transferring it into the government, purchasing a prepaid debit card such as Green Dot card or gift cards, and read the card numbers over the phone to satisfy the fine, or by depositing cash into a Bitcoin or ATMs. Scammers use many tactics to sound and appear credible. They sometimes provide information like badge numbers, names of actual law enforcement officers and federal judges, and courthouse addresses. If you call the sheriff's office, they may confirm name used by the scammer is a legitimate employee. Now, the guy that called me, he was a legitimate deputy, but many years ago. Truth is, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has its own taxi service, and we will come and pick you up if you'd like. So don't worry about that. So I'm hoping this audio plays.
This is Sergeant Matthew Burke with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department calling for Jesse Brisendine in regards to Kurt's legal matter. If you can please contact me back at your earliest convenience at 602-892-5283. That's 602-892-5283. Again, this is Sergeant Matthew Burke with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department. Thank you.
So I called him back. And I don't think he's still here. Is he still with us? So I called him back, and I can't play the audio portion of that because that ended me up in professional standards. But I had a long conversation, thinking, and him not knowing I worked for the sheriff's office. And I kept him on the phone for about 30 minutes, trying to get him to, well, where are you located? Can I go there? And I figured if I could talk to him for 30 minutes, that's 30 minutes less time he has with somebody else to scam out of money. So finally at the end, I said, well, can I just turn myself in? Yeah, but you'll still have to post a bond. I said, okay, well, can I just turn myself in here at the station? Well, what do you mean here at the station? Well, I'm right here at the station. Can I just turn myself into my friends? Well, this is no laughing matter. It says, you're right, it's not. And you're scamming people, and that's not laughing matter either. He goes, well, we're just going to sit in the police. I said, that's fine. I'll be sitting here waiting for you, and we'd love to have that conversation. So, and it's okay to be rude to these people. Okay? Hang up on them. We grew up in a time where you didn't hang up on anybody. You politely said, no, thank you. I'm not interested today. Click. Just do whatever you want. Just tell them whatever that you're happy with, and just hang up on it. It's okay. It's okay. Title fraud. So this is something that Maricopa County has started here recently, within the last year, and it's designed to protect your homes. A lot of times what happens is individuals will look at the Maricopa County Assessor's Office at their website and see that there's a house, and they will steal your identity. And then next thing you know, they transfer that ownership to somebody else, and you don't know it. I had one lady, she came down, her father had passed away. Her and her father had lots of conversations on a daily basis about finances and all that. She comes down to clean out his house, talking to the real estate lady, and she said, you know, there's a $60,000 note against your dad's house. Like, what do you mean? He goes, no, there's not. He goes, yeah, there is. What happened is someone had stolen her dad's identity and taken out a loan using the house as equity and took out that money, and she had no idea about it. So Maricopa County came up with this title fraud prevention program on their website that protects your identity and protects your home. Once you sign up for it, if anyone tries to change any information related to your title, it'll alert you and notify you that someone's attempting to make that change. So if you own your house, you're paying your house, it's a great system, and it's absolutely free, okay? And again, it's on a county assessor's site. Again, this all relates after stolen identities. They got your phone number, your date of birth, all this kind of stuff that they need to assume your identity, and that's how they get your house. I don't think we had anybody that you can think of that's had this happen in Cincinnati West. I can't think of anyone, but it is a big enough problem that the assessor's office has changed some stuff.
Mostly it's probate problems in Sun City West, between family members.
Yeah. Grandparent scam. Okay. We haven't going on a limb here. Grandparents, great grandparents, great grandparents, grandparents that you like the grandkids or that don't like the grandkids or don't like the kids. So this is one we see a lot of. Scammers often target the elderly people pretending to be a grandchild. You've seen this on TV. Now they're starting to use this artificial intelligence and are getting all the information off social media. They'll be calling grandparents saying, hey, it's an emergency, Grandma, I need your help. They call you late at night when you're kind of in a daze, you're still kind of sleeping, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever it is. And by the time you realize what's going on, it's too late. They may say, hey Grandma, it's me. And they say, Johnny, is that you? Yeah, it's me, Johnny. And they feed you this sad story about they were in a foreign country and got involved in a crash and the person they hit is in the hospital and now he's been picked up for DUI. Now the baby's died and they need more money and you talk to a lawyer and it just keeps going and going and going and they just keep asking for more and more money. And then the light goes on. Wait a minute, Johnny wasn't there because I just saw him last night. But by then you've already been a victim. Be skeptical of anyone who tries to persuade you to wire money. Spoofing of phone numbers. I have a program on my phone where if I wanted to call Washington State, all I gotta do is put in the area I'm calling and it will change my phone number to that prefix. So if I have it, the scammers have it, okay? So just because it says on your caller ID they're calling from Scottsdale, doesn't mean they're calling from Scottsdale or Phoenix or wherever. Don't trust your caller IDs. Resist the pressure to act quickly. Again, I told you about they want you to act quickly to drop your guard down. And by the time you realize what's going on, it's too late. The fake grandparents says it's an emergency to bypass your natural hesitation. Second, ask questions. What's your mom's name? What's your dog's name? What's your favorite place to visit? Things you know the answer to. Because chances are the scammers are not going to know that, and you'll call them on their name. Pet scams. Pets to people are almost as important as people are to people. We have individuals who they take their dogs everywhere with them, their cats, their miniature whatevers, their miniature ponies, whatever. So pet scams has become an issue here for us because we rely on our pets for comfort and sometimes we've lost a loved one and this dog's been with us for such a long time that we want to replace Fido with another Fido. So what happens is you're looking online for a replacement Fido 2.0, and you see a listing for one and the dog normally runs $2,000, but the special today is $500. I like what I see in the picture. I think I'm going to call them. All they have is an email address. They don't have a person you can talk to. You send them an email, they respond back, and that's how it all starts. Then they start hitting you up with, well, we need to send this dog to you, okay? Again, there's no phone calls. It's all done over the internet. We had one lady, she was going for a free dog. The next thing you know, she's paying for a special crate. She's paying for a nanny to watch the dog until it gets on the plane, and then it has to go to the vets to get cleared. And then it's a short-nosed dog, so it has to have a special crate. By the time she got done, it was $49,000 in debt with this free dog. Okay. By the time she realized that, she's like, I'm so far in, I can't back out now. Okay. So if you're looking for a dog or cat, miniature pony, whatever, there are places to go find those. Just do your research on the individuals you contact online. just to make sure they're legitimate. Because they can take any picture they want to and post it as an ad. And so that doesn't mean they actually have that dog. Toll road scams. Again, this is one that I received. Toll roads notice of toll evasion. You have an unpaid toll bill on your account to avoid late fees paid within 12 hours, or late fees will be increased. Gives you a website to go to, which actually goes to them. When you pay with your debit card, credit card, now they've got your credit card information, they start draining your accounts. So if you haven't been out of town, say you haven't been to California in a year or 2 years, and they say, hey, you've avoided a toll road, have you really? Again, this is a very popular one right now. Like I said, I think I got 4 last week. So just know that this is out there.
That one's for North Dakota, so I doubt if they have toll roads.
That one road going through and back. Yeah. Romance scams. I hear a bunch of sighing, groaning. Romance scams, also known as online dating scams, is when a person gets tricked into believing they are in a romantic relationship with someone they've met online. In fact, their other half is a cyber criminal using a fake identity to gain enough of the victim's trust to ask or blackmail them for money. A lot of times this starts on Facebook. They'll see someone, they'd like to meet you on Facebook. According to the FTC, the reports of these scams have nearly tripled in the past year. And in 2024, victims of romance scams lost $1.3 billion. Okay. I know there's one romance scam, I took one, almost $1 million in loss. Women, hate to say this, but you're the most susceptible to the romance scams than men. Following investment scams, romance scams are the second riskiest scam type to women. Romance scams are riskiest to people 60 and over. And why is that? Because something's happened, you've lost your loved one, you want to be with somebody, and you fall in for the hope of something happening. Cybercriminal fakes a profile to pursue victims. Again, they look for commonalities. You like to play pickleball, you like the lacrosse or whatever you do for hobbies. They look for those things and they share those same beliefs or commonalities, almost to the fact that almost just like you. If you don't know them, do not engage with them, okay? Doesn't matter if, I had one where the person was a friend, one friend in common, and she fell for it and she lost it big time. The relationships move really fast, and usually around Valentine's Day, this is when it happens. I've had people within 7 days, say, I love you, I want to get married, I can't be without you. Can you send me $1,000 so I can buy my kids who I can't get off this oil rig? I can't get off the oil rig to send them a present. Can you send them a present? Or I need money to buy out the rest of my contract so I can come and be with you. So their numbers are, their stories are, they're always the same. I always know what their stories are, because I've heard them so many times. Again, they ask you to marry them. You've never met. They move communications off dating sites. Once they move that off of that dating site, whether it's off Facebook, they usually try to go to a site called WhatsApp. And that is a site that's not monitored and not recorded, so all those communications are lost. So they have no way of going back to find out where those were and who they were. They break promises to visit you. They come up with elaborate reasons why they can't see you. I was involved in a crash. Had one lady say she was involved in a crash. Showed me a picture of a guy who was on death's bed. His hair was all parted and faded up, and his face was all nice. And I said, this is the guy you're relationship with? He's a comedian. He's not even a real person. But she fell for it. They claim they need money for travel expenses to see you, medical, family, or personal emergencies, money for instances to get off the oil rig, money for shipping money and gold to you. That was the one, almost $1 million. It got tied up in Mexico. She needed stamps and needed this and that and everything. Wire transfers, preloaded gift cards, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin deposit, and money sent overnight packaged in a specific way and labeled books. because you can't ship money through the mail, okay? So they always have you do it a very specific way. Seniors usually have financial savings or own their own home or have good credit. Seniors are less inclined to report fraud because they are ashamed. They don't want to admit to their relatives that, hey, I got scammed out of your inheritance, because now you're going to be putting them on, we used to put them on allowances. Now you're going to be on the allowance, and you don't like that, just like the kids didn't. When elderly victim does report a crime, they are sometimes unable to supply detailed information. They didn't keep notes, they didn't think about things, but now here it is 6 months later, and they're saying, this is what I remember, okay? Again, why us? You grew up in a time where you could trust people, you could do $100,000 deals on handshakes and know it was good, okay? You didn't have to lock your doors, you knew who your neighbors were. You grew up in a time of trust and politeness. When I said, just hang up the phone, you don't have to be polite, just hang up the phone. No disrespect when I say this, a lot of us, and I say us because I'm 60, are not computer savvy. Again, if I have a problem, fix this. Sometimes we're too proud to ask for help or admit that we did not know until it was too late. Seniors tend to have more expendable income, such as investments, retirements, and financial safety and security. Never open up unsolicited emails. I talked about that earlier. Resist the pressure from the callers. We were raised not to hang up on callers. Do not pay anyone with a gift card. Check bank accounts regularly. Do not call numbers or respond to email addresses and warnings. We've done a pretty good job with educating our retailers. So if you go to Fry's or Safeway or stuff like that, if you come in and say, hey, I need to buy $2,500 worth of gift cards, they may start asking you questions. Why do you need this money? And unfortunately, the scammers already told us, hey, leave me on the phone, put me in a pocket, don't tell them what it is, because we don't know who you can trust, and just tell them it's for a Christmas gift, or you're doing remodeling, okay? They may ask you some more questions to verify, try to get you to admit that you're being scammed. Chase Bank, next week I'm having doing a presentation with them. Basically the same thing. We've had several victims show up at their place where they've actually talked to them and got them to understand they're being scammed. So we've been doing a pretty good job of educating our retailers in our community, but it's still out there, still a problem. Who do you report the crimes to? MCSO, number 1. Then once we get there, we're going to have you contact the Federal Trade Commission, the FBI's Internet Crime Center, the Arizona State Attorney General's Office, and your banking institution, just so you cover all your bases and lock yourself down. And here within the last year, we've seen a different trend. In the past, it's always been individuals calling from overseas or foreign countries, whatever it is. Here recently, we've been seeing individuals actually showing up as couriers to your residence to pick up money. Okay? And unfortunately, a lot of those homes don't have cameras, so we're not able to get a good idea who these individuals are. And it's not just in Sun City West, it's all over the valley. Chandler, Gilbert report the same things. So just be leery of that. If anyone ever shows up to your house to collect money, shut the door, call 911 so we can get over there and try to find out what's going on, okay? Had one lady, she actually let the individual spend the night at her house. And she was a victim of $60,000 she had at her house. She allowed him to stay overnight. And I think we made 3 calls to that house because her stepson in Washington State was concerned about her, but she wouldn't admit that she was a victim. She knew what was going on. She's okay. She wouldn't even let me at the door. She opened the door enough, and so finally she realized that she was a victim. But just think how bad that could have gone that night if it'd been somebody else. Catherine Stutzman's famous thing here is what it says: be suspicious of everyone and trust no one. Okay? I know I've gone through this relatively quick. I'm sure there are some questions. And I think there's an individual who was possibly scammed with an employment scam. So there was a lady who, do you want to tell your story?
Sure. So I'm looking for another transcription job, and I applied to all sorts of different places and not kept track of who was sending the jobs in, and all of a sudden I get this very eloquently written letter saying this is wonderful, we need you to be one of our transcriptionists. We are in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and we're going to send you a check so that you can buy, we have to have you have your own, separate computer, because some of the people, when they worked on their own computers, had viruses, and that got into our situation, our company. So we're gonna send you the check to have you go out and buy your computers. So my husband was in IT, he was in IT security with U-Haul, was with them for 33 years. I said, this doesn't look good. He said, let him send the check. So they sent the check by email, and I was to print it out. I took it to him, and he deposited it by taking a picture of it, like you have those apps to do that. I don't have that on my phone. And the next day, I called the bank and said, is it in there? And they said, yes, the check is in there. So we talked about it a little bit, and then I got another email that said, oh, wait a minute, it was for $3,800. You need to send us that amount because we've decided that you're going to send that in a wire transfer to our vendor. I shouldn't have sent you the check in the first place, send that amount to our vendor. And thank God, Chase Bank got in there and said, this is a scam, don't do it. And I even had a woman call me, and I was saying, but we checked with the company and it's real. And we checked with the vendor and it's real. She said, honey, it's a scam, don't do it. So thanks to Chase Bank, we saved $3,800 that we were getting ready to send you.
So, and that's pretty common. They'll send you a check and they'll say, well, I'm buying this table that's worth $50, but I'm gonna send you a check for $5,000. And my movers are gonna be there. I live in New York, just pay them the difference and they'll come by and pick it up. So they send you a bad check, they get the money, and then by the time the check clears, it's on you now. And the banks see that as a legitimate transaction. They won't reverse it for anything. Yes, ma'am.
How long does it take for a check to clear?
I'm not in the banking industry, I don't know. It used to be 7 days.
No, 7 to 10.
So.
Depends on the amount too.
Yeah.
And the amount.
Monday to Thursday for mine to come back is no good.
So, yeah, every bank is different, like Lieutenant said, it depends on the amount. And sometimes if you have that amount of cash in your account, they'll take that cash and say, you know, it's good, and then come back and it won't be good. So just check with your bank to find out what their procedures are for checks. Anybody else have any questions? Yes, sir.
Not so much a question, but very recently, including today, while you guys are talking about scams, I'm getting phone calls that are scams. The bottom line is this is an organization that says they're an accident compensation company. And you have money due you. And then they ask me, have you recently been in an automobile accident? And I said, well, if you know I have money due me, you would know the answer to that question. So have a nice day, and I hang up. But they keep calling me, and they're playing a game here, and I'm 99% sure it's another scam. It's crazy. They're basically trying to tell me that there's money sitting there that's mine.
Yep.
Because I was in an accident recently.
Somebody over here, any question?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the state of Arizona, what is the law regarding recording a conversation? Does it require that both parties be aware that the conversation is being
One party.
recorded? One party, okay.
Yeah.
So when you call these people back, you can be recording the conversation and that's not.
Yeah, just like I did mine.
That's not a violation.
Yes, sir.
And it doesn't have to be something, it could be something as simple as like, okay, you say you're an employee, it happened to my boss. when I was up in Idaho. And an employee he got a call from at work. And they said, oh, we're from an entity that's above, corporate, and we want information. And then they started getting information, and then suddenly he's waiting. And then they talk about Bitcoin or something went off. And he's like 19. So he's young kid. And I'm like, you should have hanged up.
Yeah.
The moment you knew something was off.
Yeah. Anybody else? Do you have anything to add? Lieutenant?
Twice, my name has been used by a scammer to try and scam somebody from our communities. Once was a few years ago in District 4, way up in Cave Creek. A lady actually came into the office trying to talk to me because I supposedly called her and told her she had a warrant. Well, she hung up and came to our office. Hey, I'm here to turn myself in. I have no idea who you are, ma'am. I never talked to you. Wound up playing games with the scammer. And then last month, a county employee from the sheriff's office calls my work cell phone. Hey, Lieutenant, are you working right now? I'm like, no, I'm actually at home on my day off. How can I help you? She goes, somebody claiming to be used on the phone with my mom trying to get her to pay off a warrant. I said, that's a scam. Tell her to hang up. It happens every day. Okay? I've had scammers call my county phone, which I absolutely love doing, because I will, like Jesse does, I will have a field day with them. Okay? I kept one guy on the phone for almost an hour and a half while I was sitting at the lake on a slow December day. And I kept driving with him. I was giving him our headquarters address, different sheriff's office phone numbers. Well, this address shows that this person, and this person live there. Oh yeah, they all do. And they were all county employees. They were all deputy sheriffs that were like, oh, I'll give you our headquarters address. Go ahead. So, like I said, we'll have fun with them because we can usually spot them pretty quick. The best thing I can tell you guys is with your cell phones, especially with cell phones, I don't know how many people still have landlines anymore. If you don't know the number, don't answer it. If you're expecting a phone call from a doctor's office or something like that, by all means answer the phone, okay? But if you don't, and somebody's trying to get in touch with you, they'll leave a voicemail for you, okay? If not, hang up. Just don't even answer it. Send it to voicemail, okay? I know with iPhones, it's, press the lock button twice, whoop, sends them to voicemail.
A lot of the AI bots nowadays, they will wait for that prompt for your voicemail, and the AI bot will leave a voicemail. So you can go to the voicemail and you will tell it's a scam right off the bat. So if you don't know the number exactly, just let it go. I had 4 calls here from a 520 area code. I've got an iPhone. I have my spam alerts on. It's telling me possible spam underneath the number. If I see that, I won't even answer it, okay? I don't know if Android phones do that, but I know iPhones do that.
Yeah, Android does it too.
Okay, so if you see that spam alert, don't even answer it. Now, if somebody's important or it's a doctor, you don't have to answer those calls if you're waiting for a doctor's office. They will leave a message, okay?
But then trying to get hold of them after that?
That's painful.
It's hard.
Yeah, okay. But the other thing you gotta understand too, folks, I've been in this business for 32 years. There is no way that any law enforcement agency is going to call you up and tell you you have a warrant. And you need to pay. We are going to come knock on your door and find you. That's how you'll know.
One last question, Victor.
Years ago, there was an audio that some of you may or may not have heard, and it's probably on YouTube, that I still dearly love. This person who's trying to scam calls the number, and when he picks it up, he says, "Are you John Smith? Sir, you have called a crime scene. What was your business with the deceased?" And he kept him on for like 30 minutes. It's hilarious, but that's the way to do it if
anyway, I appreciate the time today. You know, I get out and talk to everyone. If I can save one person in here from being a victim, then it was an hour well spent. If you have other groups like church groups or social groups or clubs, whatever, that you want us to come and talk to, we'll be glad to do that as well. Again, appreciate your time. If you have any questions, just you can see me or lieutenants, or just have a good day.